oh, the music on the radio just stopped. And it just resumed. You hear that glitching? That's KWSS on their main low power FM signal, 93.9 FM. Wow. So I'm on my way to follow up a lead on a karaoke gig, and it just occurred to me I have absolutely no business cards on me because I stopped carrying them months ago. Came to Costco to top off my gas tank. Kind of disappointed I wasn't able to do it with the Costco credit card. This payment just went through. My guess is it's still in the process of being processed. Yesterday I did make it into Chase Bank. I was able to get a printout of my most recent transactions, and it showed that the payment for my Costco credit card had gone through. I don't know how long the delay is on that, but yeah, funds not available right at the moment. Which, not a big deal. I mean, I'm missing out on some rewards, but I was able to just use my Chase debit card and get the tank topped off. That's the important thing. 11.23 gallons. I didn't get it as much on fumes as I have like the last couple of times, but still, yeah, it's a lot to put into an alleged 11-gallon tank. Gas price down a little bit, $3.34 a gallon. 37.62 is what it cost me to top off. Figure since this is specifically a trip to go get go follow up on a sales lead, I could maybe consider this a business expense. I don't know. I'm not a CPA. It's kind of warm out today, but still really, really nice. I was actually thinking about going over to my storage and working on my recycling, and decided that I had more important things to deal with today. Most notably following up on this karaoke lead, and of course getting gas. Well, it was convenient time to get gas. Anyway, I'm going inside to get my business card. So I had to double back to the carport to use my Wi-Fi. I'm still out of data on my iPhone, and over here where I'm parked, as I was trying to open up, shut up, car. I hate that dinger so much. Now the alternative. Once I got to the car, I thought it would be a good idea to open up that link to the place where I'm going to check out the karaoke gig and see exactly where it is, because when I was on my way out of Costco, I realized that I didn't remember the name of the place or exactly where it was at. Like, I remember generally where it was at, but I thought it would be a good idea to check that specifically. And then as it was loading the page, I've got a link to their Google listing, and as the page was loading, my connection to my Wi-Fi just died. I'm like, well, this is annoying. And with no data on that phone. And just the simplest thing to do was to walk over to my carport and get on my own Wi-Fi. I need to do something about that Benz taking up all my space on the carport. I had plans for that Benz to part it out and try to turn that into a revenue stream on eBay. And not only have I made zero progress on that, I've kind of been letting my eBay just fall apart. I don't remember the password to it. I'm going to have a challenge just getting on it the next time I get on it. Shortcut. Just noticed I was going to miss that light there at Palm. Hopefully this works out better. Sometimes this does. Sometimes I just get stuck at the stop sign coming up trying to turn left onto 44th Street. It was actually chilly last night to the point I turned the temperature knob inside the car to try to get heat, and of course it didn't really give me any. And now it's like warm enough I want my air on. Yeah, this is always a fun time of year in Phoenix. It's like hot enough you want air conditioning in the day and cold enough you want heat at night. Or you just kind of try to tough out both extremes and bundle up a little bit more at night and just sweat it out a little bit in the daytime. Now, this is not an easy place to turn left in the daytime. As I've said, 44th Street is one of the most strodiest of stroads in the area. And the guy turning left has the right of way over me, as does the other guy turning left. And that's probably going to be it for the gap that I turned to turn left in. Maybe I would have been better off to just wait for the light over at Paul. But hey, I'll get to watch a street person waddle by in a bit. Oh, it looks like she's going to waddle in front of me right when the gap in traffic happens. That woman appears to truly be struggling. And there went my chance to go. And now there's traffic coming from the south. Yeah, this was a bad idea. I should have just waited out that stupid light. Oh, there's a gap to the south. Do I get a gap to the north? Intersections like this shouldn't even exist. Wow, the woman that just waddled in front of me just like darted in front of traffic to get to the, oh, here's my gap, to get to the median, and now she's gonna dart in front of me here. Yeah, you're jaywalking, ma'am. That's one of the many reasons Phoenix has so many pedestrian fatalities. Of course, if we didn't have such ridiculously wide stroads, that would help as well. And the kicker is that 40th Street and 48th Street both go through, but Phoenix has taken pretty notable measures over the last few decades to reduce the traffic on 40th Street, reduce the traffic on 48th Street so that everybody is forced to go on 44th, making 44th really dangerous. And I don't have a solution for it. And I'm not naive enough to believe the solution is, oh, run more buses. Nobody in Phoenix wants to ride the bus. Let's get real here. Although I do believe, and yes, it would back traffic up on 44th Street to a point, but I do believe 44th Street would be greatly improved by taking it down to 2 lanes each direction and putting in protected bike lanes. And I mean proper protected bike lanes, not just painted bicycle gutters. So the place I'm going to is called On the Green. I got this lead from Kimmy and Tim, and I forget all the rest of the information they told me about it, and I should really take notes when people tell me stuff like that, because I know I have a tendency to forget it. But they were telling me about it right as the bar was closing last night over at the Water Inn. I had so much fun singing karaoke last night, although I was so tired I almost didn't stick around. That's another story, and I might get to it. I sang a song that nobody expected to ever come out of me, and then when I started singing it, people were looking at me like, oh, this is going to be so awful. And I surprised the shit out of everybody, including myself, by actually completely nailing it. And did I sound anything like Whitney Houston? Hell no. Does anybody? sound anything like Whitney Houston? I don't think so. But I took it into my own space, and it was a good space, and I did a hell of a good rendition. Saving All My Love for You. At the time that came out, I loved that song. I was a 14-year-old headbanger. My mainstays were Quiet Riot and Twisted Sister. But I've loved all kinds of music since I was a toddler. Saving All My Love for You is just an epically good song. Whitney's vocals on it are just over the top and good. And so yeah, that was a song that I've always loved. And I've never attempted to sing it for karaoke before. Motivation for that, by the way, was spending the day with Priscilla yesterday. I watched a couple movies. Now granted, I dozed off on both of them because I was tired, but caught most of the movies. Watched a couple movies on her tablet in bed. I am not fond of watching movies on the tablet in bed, by the way, which is a notable part of like why I left her place in the middle of the night and decided to go back to my own bed. But we watched, I'm not sure if it was a Netflix exclusive. In fact, I don't even know where she streamed it from. I'm just really not a fan of streaming. I much prefer to watch movies off of physical media so I can look at the case and get information about like what it is that I'm watching from looking at the case. And that I feel is something that's sorely lacking when you use streaming. So I don't know the name of the movie, I don't know the source of it, but from what Priscilla said, it's a fairly recent Whitney Houston biopic. It was really good, really, really good. As I said, I've been a fan of Whitney Houston since her first singles dropped. She's never been like one of my top 5 favorite artists or anything. But yeah, I bought the first Whitney Houston album when it was a fairly recent release. And bought the 45s to Greatest Love of All when they were kind of rising in popularity, and same thing for Saving All My Love for You. And those songs were just all over the radio. And there were things when they came on, I listened to them, I liked them. Another thing I notably remember buying Whitney Houston as a new release, I bought the cassette single for I Wanna Dance with Somebody literally the day it was put up for sale at my local record store in Douglas, Wyoming. There's a little tiny independently owned store called Sounds Good Music, and they had a special little merchandising display to put the cassette single in, because at that point in time, cassette single wasn't really a format yet. It was the second cassette single that I bought, and the second cassette single I had ever seen. I'm tempted to say it was the second cassette single ever released. Not counting like 12-inch singles on cassette, but where the contents of the 45, 7-inch 45, was released also on cassette. The first one being The Heat of the Night by Bryan Adams. I remember that one distinctly. That was a red cassette in a really unusual little black case. And the Whitney Houston one came in a cardboard slipcase, which became the standard after that for cassette singles. Played the hell out of that waiting for her second album to come out. Not that I was planning on talking about Whitney Houston on this, but yeah, I'm kind of in a Whitney Houston kick. That movie, just the music. Yeah, I mean, of course the music was amazing. That's probably what kept me into it so much, but I mean the whole movie was really good. My problem with biopics is there's so much that tends to be dramatized and fictionalized. So I'm trying to take everything I watched on it with a bit of a grain of salt, because I don't know how accurate it is. I was never into Whitney to the point where I followed everything that happened with her career. I just followed her music as it was released. And of course the movie The Bodyguard, that was huge. Got that on Laserdisc, by the way. It's actually sitting out in my living room as I watched it. I want to say fairly recently, but we're talking probably about a year and a half ago, and I just haven't gotten around to putting the damn thing away. But thinking about Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen biopic, and just how ridiculously wrong the story is as to the story of Queen and Freddie Mercury. So, is the Whitney one accurate? I don't know. I remember some of those things being in the news. I remember some of those things happening, but who knows? who's a much bigger Whitney Houston fan, or possibly Bobby Brown fan than I am. So this karaoke bar I'm headed to, I've never heard of the place. It's called On the Green now, but apparently it just recently went through a name change, which inclines me to believe it also went through an ownership change. Now, I think what Kimmy and Tim were telling me was that the old karaoke host quit. That's very possible. The old karaoke host quit as a result of the ownership change, or it could have been that, you know, he just was let go. I never know with, you know, third-hand information like this. But it's a solid lead. I figure I should follow up on it. Got my business cards here. The only thing that makes me a little hesitant to hand out the business cards, but I figure I'll just explain that when I talk to somebody, if I actually get to talk to somebody, that my website has not been working for a long time. By my website, I mean my page on songbookdb.com. I've been saying for months that I'm going to contact Sean and take care of that, and then I just never do. And I feel like an idiot for that now that I'm mentioning it, because literally all it would probably take is a 2-sentence email. The customer service that I've got for Sean, the owner of songbookdb.com, has been phenomenally, unbelievably good. It's 100% on me, and I just haven't contacted him to let him know that there's a problem with my PayPal. What other kind of payment can we work out? I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be an issue. It's not like PayPal is the only service now for sending money. I mean, I believe I have access to my Venmo again. And then there's also Cash App. I've somehow created 2 Cash App accounts. And I don't know that I have access to either of them right now. And I can always reactivate Zelle. Or, I don't know, just get my direct credit card. I mean, shit, I think you can always pay with a credit card through PayPal without going through your PayPal account. That's an option. There's options. I just haven't followed up on it. I don't know how the sales call is going to go. I was considering bringing Priscilla with me, because she's better at talking to people than I am. Much better at talking to people than I am. I was chatting with her actually via text shortly before I headed out. She was working on some stuff, cleaning her apartment, which is something that desperately needs done. And then said she was planning on taking a shower after that. When it comes to her getting ready, she's very much on CPT, and I want to go to the bar now while it's still potentially a slow period in the afternoon. I don't know how busy this place is going to be. It's on Power Road, so it's definitely farther away than I want a karaoke gig to be, but hopefully I can make this work. Well, that guy just had to get in the ending right lane to pass me on the right. It's amazing how many people don't understand that you're supposed to pass on the left. And all I did was allow him to tailgate the person who went to trailer. Yeah, I'm keeping a distance from anybody that drives that badly. It's on Power Road between Broadway and Southern, more or less opposite of the east entrance to Leisure World. And for those who have never heard of Leisure World, it's an enormous gated retirement community. And by enormous, I mean almost 2 square miles. The guy was in all that rush just to get off the freeway. He'd literally be seconds behind where he is now if he'd have just stayed behind me and followed in a safe 3-second following distance. It's American drivers for you. Or should I say Arizona drivers, although it's my understanding that generally this type of bad driving is a thing everywhere in the United States. To be thankful he's in a normal sized car as opposed to that red monstrosity in the left lane. Thinking it's a horse trailer in front of me. Now see, I can get with somebody driving a big truck to pull a horse trailer. That makes sense to me. But the red truck in front of me, I suspect, is just somebody's car. because it's the way most people use large trucks like that. I do kind of have a connection to this area of town that I'm heading to. I used to have a karaoke show that lasted the better part of a year. We got a Model Y Tesla coming in on the right. Very nice. I have such a love-hate thing with Tesla cars. Eager to see what Elon gives us with the Tesla Model 2 next year. And eager to see if it actually comes out. I mean, the Cybertruck has been a thing for how many years now? And it still hasn't come out. Supposedly Tesla's putting out an electric semi as well, and that hasn't materialized either. I do want an electric car so bad I can taste it. But so far, this Saturn's still kind of holding up. It's driving really good right now. So my connection to this area, for nearly a year, I had an insanely popular karaoke show at the Superstition Springs TGI Fridays, which, like most TGI Fridays, has been out of business for a long time. I don't even know if TGI Fridays still exists anywhere. The two that I used to work in the Far East Valley are long gone. I also did one, and I believe it was from the same franchisee owner. Most TGI Friday locations were franchises. I'm not 100% sure if it was Chandler or Gilbert. It was down in the Santan area, like Germain and Gilbert Road, right off the 202. Or this is the 202, but like swinging all the way around on the 202 Santan freeway, as opposed to this, which is generally referred to as the 202 Red Mountain Freeway. Now that show did pretty good, the one off the Santan Freeway, but the one that I did, and crazy enough, it was a Tuesday night show. Generally speaking, Tuesday night shows have always been difficult for me to build a crowd at, but not the TGI Fridays at Superstition Springs. Somehow that just kind of unofficially became an industry night for this end of town, and most shows that I had there were so busy that if the Mesa Fire Marshal had come in, we might have been in trouble. I haven't had a lot of shows that got consistently that outrageously busy, but that was like that, I want to say, from the first night. And it really stemmed from the fact that the bar staff there, I want to say there were two, definitely one, but I think there were two bartenders there that used to work with me at Gilligan's at a time when my karaoke show in Old Town Scottsdale was huge. They just went crazy with the word of mouth, and those were the type of bartenders that were very social with other bartenders and would go out drinking with other bartenders all the time. So they put the word out to the other bartenders who put out the word to the other bartenders who put it out to all their customers, and literally from night one till the last night I was there, that place was packed on Tuesday nights. Now, how much of that crowd still exists? I have no idea. I mean, we're talking 15 years ago. Who knows if those people still live in this part of town? Who knows if those people still like going to bars for karaoke? I mean, people's lives changed dramatically over the course of 15 years. But there is that slight possibility that I might have a little name recognition out here still. A little brand recognition with Karaoke by Dan Dan. Feels like it was about 2 years ago that I was out here looking for karaoke gigs. Probably longer ago than that. I know I was vlogging at that time though. So, yeah, I put out several cards and talked to several bar owners and didn't land anything. Yeah, while I'm out this way, I'll probably make the most out of my fuel money and hit at least two of those other bars. Probably RTO Sullivan's, which is across the parking lot from where TGI Fridays used to be. And while I'm at it, hit, I forget what the hell it's called. It's called the Trough. On the other side of Loop 202 on Main Street. So what Kimmy told me is that the guy that was here left prior to him leaving. The bar had a different name. I have no idea what it was called. It's certainly nothing I've ever gone to. And said that, well, something big going in on the left here. sign up saying what it was going to be, but I couldn't really see it while driving by and trying to keep an adequate eye on the road in front of me. So this is Brown. So I've got 2.5 miles until I get to my destination. I do that stuff in my head, years of being a cab driver. This is why I have no need for any kind of GPS navigation. So, Kimmy said that they were doing karaoke 2 nights a week. I could go for a 2-night-a-week karaoke gig, and I'm confident MLS will allow me to adjust my schedule. If I do get karaoke offers, I'm not giving MLS a choice on adjusting my schedule. I'm going into Rob or possibly the absolutely gorgeous woman who is not his sister that works in the office. I don't know why I can never remember her name, but going in there and just telling her, like, yep, I picked up a karaoke gig and I can't work this night anymore, shift my nights around. MLS is not paying me enough for me to let them tell me no about those shift changes. I'm going to make my karaoke business happen as long as I'm getting an offer. Speaking of getting offers, Winona has been considerably more active this week, but not offering me anything on a time that I can do it. In fact, just before I left my place, I got a text message that said there was a job available and it was starting soon. And I looked at it, considering that maybe I should do that rather than do what I'm doing right now. And it opened up in the app and said that the job was no longer available. And I never did see a push-through message for that particular job, so that was weird. Now, at that time, it did show that day shift and night shift are available tomorrow at Factor. I didn't bother to look to see if it was sanitation or food production because it doesn't really matter. Tomorrow I'm going to be busy at MLS working for Hertz, and what I really need to do relative to MLS is sit down and figure out how many hours I've worked this week, since I've been a little bit off my regular schedule this week, so I know what time I need to leave. I'm really hoping Keontae's with me tomorrow. He said he was going to try to see if he could work Sunday night shift tomorrow. There was one gig it offered me for Friday, so yesterday, and I thought about it. I thought really hard about it because the gig was paying over $200, and I could really use a payout of over $200. But it was for 12 hours of putting up Christmas lights that involved going up on ladders. I'm a little sketchy about heights. $200 is enough to make me want to conquer the fear of that, but my main decision to not do it was based on the fact that it was, I think, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I had worked all that night, Thursday night at MLS. I did leave at the proper time, but then I had gone to I wonder why that guy's honking his train horn. That's obnoxious as hell. I did go to Newtown Saloon for karaoke, and I stayed there until about 1, and it was probably 2:30 in the morning when I was laying in bed when the push-through message came through to that. Yeah, 2:30 in the morning is not a suitable time for me to get a push-through for a karaoke gig that starts at 5 in the morning. It's 12, or not karaoke gig, I'm sorry, a Winolo gig that starts at 5 in the morning and is a 12-hour shift. I figured there was just no way I'd be able to do that on the amount of sleep that I had had. And yeah, falling asleep on a ladder while I'm climbing up probably streetlight poles and shit, putting up decorations. Yeah, I think we'll pass. OTG Sports Grill, north side of building. I do remember coming to a bar in this strip mall quite some time ago and talking to somebody about hosting karaoke here, and I do believe at that time they weren't doing karaoke. So whoever just walked away from the gig here didn't have it for that long of a period of time. again, maybe not. This does not look familiar to me. Oh, it said north side of building. Here I am driving around the south side of the building. Looks like we got a urgent care there. I wonder if I can drive around the building. Looks like I can. That's convenient. Well, it's literally on the green. Golf course right here on the right. Wow, and there's a sign hanging on every chunk of the fence advertising it. Well, they got a live band playing right now. That's promising. Designated motorcycle parking over here. Looks like a pretty poppin' place. Hear that? Sounds like a fairly okay cover band. Doing a little Dire Straits. Well, I was hoping this place would be dead so I could go in and talk to somebody. It actually looks like it's pretty darn busy right now. But more than anything right now, I'm just trying to establish a contact with somebody and drop a card and hope that they contact me, and perhaps probably, you know, come back at a later date. Although I'm not really seeing a parking spot here, which tells me there might not be anybody here who actually has time to talk to me. Wow. Parallel park on the street. See somebody on the left parked on the wrong side of the road. Oh, I'm parking the right here. That works. See the sign says begin no parking. It looks like the no parking is actually to facilitate golf cart crossing. All right, here goes nothing. Wish me luck, y'all.